Hello, my name is John Cima. I've been a member at Redeemer for about 20 years. And the question at hand is, how have Christian relationships, one-on-one relationships, and community influenced your faith life? For me, it's not only influencing my faith life, but it's also changed my life. And it all starts about 20 years ago when my 16-year-old son came to me and said, "Dad, I don't think I'm a Christian." And it just really threw me because I believed in Jesus Christ. I believed in his salvation. We faithfully went to church at Easter and at Christmas. We did not worship regularly. We did not pray. We were not a member of a Christian community, but I expected my children to think they were Christians. And he proceeded to explain to me that he had been approached by a friend of his, Renee Watson, who was a member at Redeemer, and she had taken him to church, and he had also attended a teen retreat called Teens Encounter Christ. And he was on fire for the Lord at that time, and he wanted to join this church. And my response is that we're glad that you found some spiritual connection, and we encouraged him to join the church. But my wife and I, it didn't affect us because we were too busy playing tennis on Sunday mornings. So anyway, JP joined the church, and he was very active, and most know the story that he decided he wanted to become a minister, and he is now a missionary in Cambodia. Shortly after he joined the church, the next retreat came up, and he wanted me to come to this retreat. And I resisted very, very strongly because it was not my thing, and I wasn't going to do it, and he was very persuasive and convinced me to go. So I went on this retreat at Westview, I believe, on the James. It was very, very, very uncomfortable for me. They took my phone, they took my keys, they boarded up windows, and I was extremely uncomfortable. But over the course of the weekend, I was exposed to a variety of individuals, Christian community, showing the love of Jesus through prayer, through talks, through worship, through music. At the end of that weekend, I was severely affected by the Lord. I drove home that weekend. I was crying. I was emotional. And this was a situation where God was speaking to me through Renee and through my son, and he said, you need to get your spiritual life in order. And I vowed to him that I was going to do that. So we started attending Redeemer Lutheran at that time, and we eventually became members. And I'll never forget the day that we became members, the feeling of emotion that came over me when we were announced as members. And just again, I think the fact that I was finally a member of a Christian community. And for the last 20 years, I've been involved in small groups. I have been involved in leadership, servant events, Simple Truth, Praise Band, regular worship, and a variety of people that I've come into contact with. All the people that I've come into contact with have influenced my faith life. A few come to mind. Sharon and Brad Moss, former members. Sharon was a prayer warrior, and just unbelievable example of prayer and the power of prayer. Bob and Marie Heckman, 80-something years old, longtime Lutherans, former pastor, just demonstrated a strong faith in Jesus and their Christian life. Billy Call, some people say Billy is a little rough around the edges, but you will not find an individual in this church that has more of a servant heart than Billy Call. And then one other that really comes to mind that has probably been my biggest influence in my faith life and growth is Jim York. And Jim always preached a non-anxious presence. He lived a non-anxious presence, and he encouraged us to do that. And that really stuck with me. And that never became so real for me as much as when I was diagnosed with cancer last August 1st. And one of the things I immediately prayed for at that time was strength to deal with whatever I had to go through. But equally, and maybe even more importantly, was to be non-anxious. God was in control. I had it. I couldn't do anything about it, and I just needed to pray to Him for guidance and strength and courage, and to to not be anxious about it. And I have slept at night. I have put it in God's hands, and currently doing very well. So in closing, Christian relationships and one-on-one relationships are extremely important in your development of your faith life. And as a new member of Redeemer, if you're new to the faith, I would encourage you to get involved, to interact with other Christian brothers and sisters, to listen to them, to be with them, to see the things that they're going through. They can provide so much support and help your faith to grow. Everybody's at a different stage in their life. They've all come to faith through different avenues. And so I would just encourage you to get involved and trust in the Lord and be with your Christian brothers and sisters. And I guarantee you that you will reap untold benefits from those associations. Thanks very much.